A tragedy gone but not forgotten, leading into the Orangeburg Massacre by Tradgey Cooper.
As recently as the 1960s, race relations in the United States were quite different than they are today. Laws existed then that would be considered unfair, even unconscionable today. For example, segregation, a system of laws established to keep racial groups separate, was practiced and enforced mostly in the southern United States. Throughout the South, blacks were forced to use separate drinking fountains. They were required to eat in separate restaurants. They had to sit in separate sections of theaters, trains, and buses. Many children had no choice but to attend separate schools. This kind of separation was known as de jure segregation, or segregation according to law. By contrast, most northern cities, such as Detroit, Milwaukee, and Newark, were segregated de facto, in fact or reality. Because housing laws restricted blacks to certain areas, segregation was commonplace in both schools and neighborhoods. Since the early 1900s, the search for job opportunities brought many blacks to northern cities. As blacks moved in, however, many whites moved out. Racism, prejudice, and intolerance appeared to follow the migration as blacks tried to find work and raise families. The unfair treatment toward blacks became an additional burden in issues of housing, employment, and education.
What happens in Orangeburg stays in Orangeburg. This is accurate because the media paid no attention to the massacre until South Carolina University honored the victims. The Orangeburg Massacre. Segregation is the separation between different races. The segregation that is going on in the Orangeburg Massacre is between blacks and whites, such as blacks and whites had to go in different entries, use different water fountains and bathrooms. Also, they weren't allowed in the same stores or restaurants as whites. Well, the United States passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which stopped segregation. Most places were integrated in Orangeburg, South Carolina. However, the city's only bowling alley, the All-Stars Bowling Lane, was not. In defense, on February 6, 1968, many black students from South Carolina State University gathered in front of the university to protest. They returned the next night and 15 students were arrested. On February 8, 1968, at 10:33 p.m., they returned again with 200 protesters led by John Stroman and gathered on the campus of South Carolina State University to protest the segregation of the All-Stars Bowling Lane, now All-Star Triangle Bowl. Students set grass fires and tried to burn down vacant houses. As the police officers tried to put the fire out, they were hit with banisters. This caused the police officers to kill 3 boys, Samuel Hammond, Delano Middleton, and Henry Smith. In addition, they wounded 27 others. This was caused because one patrolman tried to stop the commotion by shooting the gun in the air, but when he shot, 9 others started to shoot in the crowd of protesters. The 9th patrolman was charged and sentenced. Governor McNair blamed outside black power agitators, but investigations came back to be false. Although this event was a tragedy, it did not get much notice from the media, so a man named Jack Bass, or Bass, who was a historian, wrote about the incident. The All-Stars Bowling Lane, now the All-Star Triangle Bowl, is now integrated, and the Floyd family is working hard to keep the bowling alley in the family. In honor of the 3 boys killed on the campus, the university's gymnasium was named in memory of Samuel Hammond, Delano Middleton, and Henry Smith. My name is Tradgey Cooper from 801 in Lakeland Elementary Middle School. I hope that you enjoy my movie, The Orangeburg Massacre. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I want now I'm found, was blind, but now I see.